Ah, ah, hi. I cannot tell. I cannot tell when this thing goes live for sure. So you're probably seeing me fiddling around and whatever. There have been a lot of new people joining this particular group and a lot of actual new students in the magic group. And so I just wanted to kind of pop on and check in and let you know that, just remind you um, that I'm here and that regardless of the fact that, yes, I am a full-time working reporter, and yes, I do hypnotherapy on the side, evenings, weekends, in elevators. I can't believe the places that I've had the opportunity to help people, and it's been amazing. Um, my favorite is when I'm flying and I see somebody freaking out, and within 30 seconds, they're just relaxed and in the most wonderful, cozy, comfy place, flying to where they're going to go and have the most wonderful time. And those seeds are planted, and away they go. That feeds my soul. I often say, steno pays the bills. My goodness, it pays the bills great, but the hypnotherapy feeds my soul. So, for those of you in this group, somewhere between finding a machine, finding a school, and I don't know, somewhere around 120, 140, 160, um, and then that's all still getting the right start as far as I'm concerned. And there's never a time when you can't just stop and mentally start from, because we all get to that place where we're frustrated, we're doubting, we're having questions about what the hell did I get myself into? Is this what I really want to do? And to know that you have options, especially since the state of California now certifies voice writers. They have to take the same test that stenotype people do. And so voice is an option. It is, in some instances, a faster option, but it's faster on the front end, meaning that you're going to be able to get out into the field and start working sooner. Your end product is not going to be, I'm sorry, I don't mean to hurt anybody's feelings, but there's a higher learning curve. Let's say there's a 4-year learning curve to becoming a prof. I mean, I'm just pulling that out of the air because some people have been in school longer than that and everybody's different. But just hypothetically speaking, if there was X number of years learning curve to become a proficient court reporter, then voice writers are about 2/3 of that. And so you're actually able to get out into the field working sooner than a stenotype student, generally speaking. But that learning curve continues. Whereas when a steno student, if they're in school that entire time and then they're out and they're working, they're producing a proficient transcript. They still have things to learn and fine tuning to do, but they're out there hitting the ground running because they've had that amount of time of foundation laid for what's coming next. And a voice writer who's gone through school in 10 months does not. Unless they were born into a court reporting family, they have a judge or an attorney really close by to mentor them, to have heard the lingo, the language, to understand the culture of the industry of legality in general. That will help. If they come from a background of having been a paralegal, that will help because you're familiar. It's the familiarity. And if you're a voracious reader, you're going to be a better producer at the end because you have a wider range of, even if it's mental experience and vocabulary. I didn't. I had a terrible vocabulary. I did not read much before I went into court reporting school. My English was sketchy at best because I had terrible English teachers in junior high and high school. Terrible. All of them contradicting each other and telling me no matter what I did, it was wrong. I don't know what made me think I'd be a court reporter, but there was a lot of desperation going on in that moment. So for me, it was dogged determination and realizing that it's last man standing. Um, no sexist innuendos meant there. Last person, last man standing. When I started school, I was, the numbers are daunting when it actually sinks into you. That I think most people toss around the 90%. There's a 90% dropout rate, which means there's a 10% success rate. Um, for Cassandra, some of you may have heard her interview with us in Magic Group. It's in the archives. But she said when she heard that, she said there were 10 people in her class, and the first thing that went through her mind, the only thing that ever went through her mind was, oh, well, if there's 10 of us, one of us is going to succeed, then that's going to be me. There's no question. That's utter, complete, total buy-in, committed belief. And she did. And she went from an amazing career, otherwise making phenomenal money, to becoming a court reporter, making phenomenal money in an amazing career. It's just different than what she was doing before. And so in my case, the school I went to didn't do percentages. The guy that owned the school basically came into us a second week in theory and said, out of every 600 people who ever walk through that door, only 2 of them will ever finish this course, and only 1 of them will ever be certified in the state of California. And my mind went something like, la, 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 because it did not want to hear whatever the hell it was that man was saying. Because had I stopped and analyzed what he was saying, I would have quit, because I didn't have belief in myself. I just knew that I was really good at typing. I mean, really good. I was self-taught, 120, 25 words per minute, back in the olden days. And I mean, seriously, olden days, like before electrics and selectrics and all that. I was freaking fast. And not understanding that steno type is different than QWERTY keyboard type. Totally different. And sometimes what you don't know is a blessing. So, but only 2 will finish the program out of 600, and only 1 will ever be certified in the state of California. If I'd stopped right then and there, I would have said, okay, let's go to, I don't know, design school or architect school, something, I don't know, not court reporting. Because I didn't know what it was going to take to get out, but I was pretty sure that whatever it was, I was going to be deficient in it. So I didn't hear what he was saying, and I just kept doing what I was doing. And it blows my mind 44 years later to realize that not only I didn't finish their program, I transferred to another school and was basically like starting over again, with belief and theory and everything, and not adopting one theory, basically kind of morphing the 2 together and hoping for the best, and not knowing what the hell I was doing, and not really feeling like I had a solid theory that I understood and adopted and embraced until I was basically in my 200s, ready to get out of school. And then it occurred to me, I better get this stuff really squared away. How do I write plurals? How do I write possessives? How do I write this? How do I write that? How do I write what I'm going to write forevermore? The 200s is not the time to do that. Theory, 100s is the time to do that. Early on, when you have time to think about your writing, is the time to do that. So here I am 44 years later, and not only did I finish and get certified through a court reporting school, which frankly doesn't matter, you got to qualify to take the test in the state that you're living in, want to work in. And that's it. That's really all you have to do. There are so many people who are self-taught, self-trained, and it doesn't make you any less than the next person. If you can pass the certification, you can pass the certification. And so here I am 44 years later with a California CSR. And then before I had my California CSR, I qualified to take it by passing the national RPR, Registered Professional Reporters Exam, which is 3 legs, 4 actually, because there's a written test, but 3 separate 5-minute tests. 1 5-minute test, 180 words a minute of literary, very dense material coming at you that sometimes doesn't make any sense. Jury charge, 200 words a minute. Generally easier material, meant to have a lot of briefs. There's a whole nother story behind that. Should be the easiest leg to pass. And then the Q&A, the testimony part for 5 minutes, 225 words a minute, and you're required to get 95% accuracy on each one of those to pass. Pass all 4, you have your RPR. And then I was qualified to take the CSR in California, which is a 10 to 15 minute test, 200 words a minute, 4 people speaking, 97.5% accuracy required to pass. Very difficult test. Very difficult test. So I have my RPR and I have my California CSR. And then I got my national RMR, my registered merit reporter. And then I got my Nevada CSR. And then I got my Arizona CSR. And then I got my national RDR, registered diplomate reporter. At the time, I don't know what the stats are now, at the time, it was 1% of all certified reporters in the United States. I don't know if they were taking that from NCRA's statistics or just globally, coming up with a figure nationwide, but we were called the top 1%. Wow. And then I turned around and got my New Mexico CCR, and then I got my Washington and Oregon license. So yeah, I'm pretty certified. But 2 out of every 600 whoever walked through the door, or I'm the 10%. And I was not the sharpest crayon in the box, and I had probably more mentally and psychologically and subconsciously writing against me than most people I know. And yet, on the surface, I looked so confident. And that is what I want to share with you. I want to be the person I wish I'd had to lean on during those times when I just wanted to say, fuck it, I'm out of here. I quit. I can't take another fail this week. How many fails can I have? Well, basically almost an infinite number. But I want you to sit down right now and write down, do little hash marks and figure out how many tests do you actually have to pass to get out of the program that you're in now. For me, it was 3 tests at each speed. So it was whatever they had me do in theory. I didn't know what that was. And then actually from theory, we went directly into 80 words a minute. And I love it because the guy that owned the school also came in and said to us in the first couple of weeks, when you finish theory, you're going to be writing at 80 words a minute. Now, what I heard, and obviously what everybody in my class heard, was, oh my goodness, when we finish theory, we're already writing at 80 words a minute. This is going to be so fun. And every single one of us passed all 3 of those 80 words per minute tests. And then I sat back and I thought, well, that wasn't so bad. How much harder could 100 words per minute be? That was the mindset I had, which helped me succeed. Now, 40 years later, going through neuroscience classes and hypnosis and all of that, I realized with a student friend of mine who said to me, Carrie, you tell that story and it occurs to me, what if that guy didn't actually mean what it was that you thought he said? Excuse me, explain. Well, you heard him say, when you get out of theory, you're already writing at 80 words a minute. And you think this is going to be great. What if he was telling you, oh my God, buckle up, be careful, be prepared, because when you finish theory, now you're going to be in the 80 word per minute class. That's a whole different message, isn't it? It's like, oh dear God, 80 is going to be hard and horrible. And it is, if you think it is. And 100 is, if you think it is. And 180 is, if you think it is. And 225 is, if you think it is. It's just the way people talk. You've been hearing it your whole life. It's just artificial boundaries and benchmarks, and don't let them stall you out. And don't let perceived non-progress change the way you believe in yourself, because it will change everything if you allow that to happen. And if you're not believing in yourself, and you can work with somebody like me and figure out how to believe in yourself, which is not a hard paradigm shift to do, once you start seeing the rest of the world for how it is, instead of the box that you were programmed into as a child, I promise you. It's not you, it's your programming. And you start seeing the world in a different way and looking at things that are possible for you that you thought were only possible for other people. And the whole world changes. Change the way you look at the world, and the way the world looks will totally change for you. I love you guys. Get a hold of me if you need anything in particular, and I'll try to pop in here more often. This is a quiet group because, frankly, those of you in the early stages really don't know what you don't know, so it's hard to ask questions, but there are no stupid questions. I promise you. Even if you called and asked me, where's the hell is the L on the right-hand side? At this point in my life, I would have to stop and look and say, oh, look at that. It's the third one over on the top row. Why do I have to stop and look? Because there comes a point when that becomes automatic, when you know where the sound is. You know where to make this word, these fingers have to do this thing, and it's not about what the keys are anymore. It's like having the little card to know where all the keys are. You don't need the card after a while, and after a while it doesn't matter where the letters are. You're hitting that key, and that gives you the result that you want. For voice people, different subject. Love you guys. Take care, and I will talk to you later.